Welcome back to Building a Main. Last time we got some basic quests ticked off to get us our first quest dice and a Ring of Fortune, giving us easy access to the G whenever we need it. This time we're going to be jumping to the other side of the world and doing even more quests. So rather than have a bunch of rambly live clips, let's just quickfire the quests and why we did them. First up is a classic Waterfall Quest. This gets you 30 attack and 30 strength right off the bat. And while we were doing this one, we went and grabbed the Ardoin lodestone next to the player-owned farm, which we're going to be getting onto very, very quickly. The next few quests have some reasonably high defense bosses, so I went back to Birthwarp and killed a bunch of the trolls there to get 30 magic. These guys actually have a surprisingly good loot table for a mob that's so easy to kill, so we sold off the loot and grabbed some gear. And the first place we put our new magic level to use is Tree Gnome Village, which gives us 36 attack, as well as access to the Spirit Tree network, which we're going to use to hop up to the next quest. It's a good thing we went and got those magic levels, because even with a tier 30 weapon, we are splashing like crazy on this guy. However, with him down and our Draconia Rock found, that is the Grand Tree complete for a bunch of magic XP, and agility XP. The agility XP is the best bit. And we threw the combat lamp into ranged. Next one on the list was the Priest in Peril, which gives us a little bit of prayer XP, but most importantly, access to Mauritania and the Canifis lodestone. We then did Once Upon a Slime, basically just for the cooking XP. And for the same reason, we did Gertrude's Cat. And finished off 20 cooking with a daily challenge. And the reason for the 20 cooking is that we're going to be doing Ghosts Ahoy. So here we're preparing our inventory for Ghosts Ahoy, as well as grabbing a bunch of Infernal Ashes, which are one of the most cost-effective ways to train prayer when used at an altar or the Ecto Functus. So here we've got enough for 43 prayer, so once we've done Ghosts Ahoy, we can get that knocked out as well. So the great thing about using Infernal Ashes instead of Dragon Bones at the Ecto Functus is that you don't need to grind ashes, you can just use them as they are. So all we've got to do is go down, grab a bunch of buckets of slime, and then tally between the Ecto Functus and a bank, and we can just offer all of our ashes that way. In addition to that, Infernal Ashes are way cheaper than Dragon Bones because they can't be used with the Powder of Burials. Okay, enough preamble. There's Ghosts Ahoy complete, which gives us a bunch of prayer XP, and the Ecto file. So now we have a reasonable way of training up some prayer. So the plan is get a bunch of buckets of slime and get to 43 prayer. Okay, here we are closing in on 43 prayer. The Ecto Functus is actually a pretty quick way to train using this method. But unfortunately, I got nowhere near enough Ecto tokens for any of the outfit pieces. And the only reason to do this over, say, the Wildy Altar is if you want the outfit pieces. So since we're not likely to actually get any of them in a reasonable time, I think going forward we'll just train prayer using the Wildy Altar. I'm not sure why I didn't just do this at the same time as Tree Gnome Village, but there is Fight Arena done, which is a bunch more attack XP and a little bit of thieving XP just to kickstart our thieving training. We then moved on to Merlin's Crystal, which gives far too many quest points, and the Excalibur, which will be useful much later on. And the follow-up to Merlin's Crystal is the Holy Grail, which is kind of like the Waterfall Quest, but for defense. It gets us all the way up to 31 defense, as well as having a decent amount of prayer XP. And now we've got our defense level up a bit, we can grab some armor and really complete that bot look. Continuing the trend of training combat via questing, we did the Witch's House, which is easier in two ways. The hit rate on the boss is way better than I remember it being, and they've added a piece of cheese to the house, which means I spent way too much money buying that off the G. After doing all this questing, I went offline and tested out RuneScape 3 on my phone for a bit, and I did all the introductory challenges, and I got introduced to just how good the daily challenges are. These things give a reasonable amount of XP, but the big thing is the weekly reward trek. This thing can just have death touch darts on it randomly, and if you actually remember to keep up with this stuff, you can just amass a bunch of like refreshes, death touch darts, load of Slayer VIP tickets. It's really great, as well as just giving out some reasonable XP. Of all the engagement systems in RuneScape, this one has to be one of the better ones. And the nice thing about it is that if you miss a day, or a couple days, you can just extend some challenges with Viswax to catch back up and get all the reward track. So while it's better to log in every day, it doesn't make it mandatory, which is a big distinction for me. I'm reasonably good at these kind of puzzles. However, the fact that I can click through the image sometimes and like accidentally click through and walk away and have to restart is actually kind of infuriating, not gonna lie. And here we have another early game quest boss with surprisingly high defense. I'm honestly shocked at how many of these bosses you just splash on quite a lot, even with tier 30 weapons. Maybe I should start bringing some combat potions. Or maybe just get a better weapon. And here we have a classic, Monkey Madness. 43 prayer into Monkey Madness makes perfect sense. In old school. In RS3, it doesn't seem to be that required, though without using Protect from range, I actually almost died on the way into the town city encampment the first time, because the archers took forever to subdue me and almost killed me instead. With the combat training, we chose to focus on attack and defense because they're slightly more useful skills in RS3 than the other ones. And now that we're over 50 quest points, we can head to Maze Caravan and grab ourselves another quest dice. We're basically just crossing our fingers for fortunate components whenever this happens, because if we get those, then we get a nice big boost to our initial cash. And thankfully, this time we did hit it. We got a Bob shirt, which is one of the cheaper fortunate component items, I think, but still a fortunate component item, so we're going to get a nice big 1.4 mil out of that. The next order of business is I actually want to unlock player-owned farms and the beehives specifically. So in order to get the farming and construction levels for that, I went and did the Violet is Blue questline. There are 2 quests to this, and the first one gives 3k in lamps, and we threw all 3 of those into construction. And with Violet is Blue 2 complete, we get 3 more reward lamps to give 4k XP each. I actually spent a long time deliberating on what to use these on. On an Iron Man, it's pretty simple. You do these 2 quests first, basically, and get your Herblore up to 33. This means your Jack of Trades and everything else starts giving more XP. And I thought about doing something similar here by boosting up maybe Divination or Fletching to start getting better XP rates, especially from caches. However, what I did end up deciding on was the 1 lamp going into farming that I need to get the requirement for beehives, and then everything else into construction. This gives us access to oak methods of training, so we don't ever have to deal with nails for training construction, which is a surprisingly big boon. Okay, so I've just bought 2,000 woad leaves from Wason the Gardener for 50k. I'll probably go through these quicker than I'm anticipating, but I think you use about half of 350, 175 a day. So this should last maybe 2 weeks at a stretch if I forget to check a day. So the plan is to level up farming early on using these beehives over here, which seems to be pretty common for training early farming now. You just go over here and check your beehives, and I can put 1,000 in each. I thought you could only put 27 in. 2,000 over 7. Just a bit below 300, 266 it should be, I think. Nope, that's not right. We'll do 250 in each. And I can't seem to set it by right-clicking, so we'll just try and get it as close as we can. Oh, wait, you put them in 1 at a time. Okay, I'm assuming it's not going to put all 1,000 in. Okay, so the idea is you put in 27 flowers into each of these. One gets used per hour and turned into honeycomb, and then when you come and collect the honeycomb, you get farming XP. This is a very confusing UI that it displays. So basically, you check this once a day, and you'll have used roughly 24 wood leaves per hive, and get a bunch of farming XP. I don't know how long I'm going to keep doing this for, probably until the actual farm itself is up and running, but that's going to take quite a while. Although it probably wouldn't take too long to get set up with the ability to buy animals off the Grand Exchange. The most common method on Iron Man is to start by farming, or is to get chinchompas and spiders. Those are quite easy to feed. And then I was doing yaks, but dragons are also fine. You can do meat runs. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish filling up these beehives, and then figure out our next course of action. So after confusing myself with the Beehive UI, I decided to head to the Varrock Museum and get the 9 Hunter and 9 Slayer by humiliating myself for my lack of knowledge around various creatures in the world. I then proceeded to go on a huge ramble about needing some direction, some goals to work towards that weren't just quest cape and maxing, which are far too big goals. So I'm going to save you from that and basically say that our first flag in the sand, as it were, is Prifdinous. No surprise there. It's very, very common mid-game goal to get into Prifdinous. However, it's also still quite a bit in the future for us, so there are going to be some other goals going forward, but I'll leave those to get revealed in time. Starting recruitment drive, and this will give us a nice little jumpstart of Herblore XP. Am I missing something? Am I talking to the wrong dude? Oh, I have to. Okay. Starting in the wrong place. After getting really confused about where to start recruitment drive, we got it done and got a bit of a kickstart on our Herblore training. Night Sword done, and that gets us up to 29 smithing. What's mine is yours, complete for 18 mining. Next up was Vampire Slayer, which is going to get us a bunch of ranged XP. Get us up to 35 ranged. This is the one good thing that has come from Treasure Hunter so far in this account, is that I am not going to need to train agility at any point. And even when I do, I'm going to have so much bonus XP saved up, it's going to take no time at all. It feels kind of cheating, sure, but cheating to train agility seems fine to me. And Goblin Diplomacy done. I didn't actually know that there was some, raid. Well, they called it a raid boss, but if you kill a bunch of goblins in this area, it spawns named goblins. And yeah, that was interesting. They don't actually drop standard brown goblin armor though, so that wasn't very helpful. And that's Nature Spirit done, which is going to get us a bunch of crafting XP. So now we're up to 21 crafting, which just unlocks a bunch more quests. Hazel Coat complete. Get some thieving levels out of that one, which not quite got the levels for Animal Magnetism, which is a quest I'm going to need to do. So maybe I'll start targeting that one a bit more. And that's Clock Tower done. No real reason other than I was just here, so I may as well get it done. And one thing I'd like to just randomly throw out: who has just a decorative door? You can't enter through this door at all. And that's Monk's Friend done, which is going to be a jump to 15 woodcutting, and we'll quickly pop a balloon for the Easy Ardougne achievement. And that's Observatory quest done, which rewarded an Amulet of Defense, which for some reason gives offensive bonuses too. Okay, that gets us up to 24 crafting and makes us hit a milestone of quest points again. So we're at 75 quest points, which means we can go get another dice. Oh, okay. That pop-up always confuses me. it says you have nothing more to claim, even when you successfully claim something. And another Bob shirt, which, I'll be honest, the other one hasn't actually sold, and I'm wondering if these even give fortunate components, or if there's just not that much demand for fortunate components at the moment. Like, let's see. Does this one actually sell for its... Okay, so this one sold instantly, so I'm assuming they are fortunate components. Does this one sell for like 5% under? No. Well, I'm assuming it will eventually sell, so I'm just gonna leave it up there at guide price. I don't know why the black one sold instantly and the purple one doesn't. It seems like the GE is very inactive compared to when I used to play a non-Iron Man account. Okay, I've decided I don't actually feel like continuing questing tonight. I'm gonna pick that up again tomorrow. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna pick up our first Slayer task, which is grot worms. Okay, Slayer's task is finished, and I basically only bothered to pick up like flax, water runes, and nature runes. Not insane drops, but doesn't have a Slayer requirement, so not too surprising there. Got a mage level, got up to 13 Slayer. So I'm gonna finish off the night by grabbing another Slayer task just to have something to look forward to, and then I'm gonna do the daily challenges. And then I'm probably going to head off and just do some AFK skilling on my phone for the rest of the night. So we'll get our task. 87 shades. I don't even know where those are. Need to go down to Morton. Okay. And to finish off the evening, I just did my daily challenges and then retired and did some AFK woodcutting on my phone. There's going to be a bunch of AFK skilling on the phone because I just do it when I'm out and get a few minutes to sit down, or if I'm just hanging out in a different room in the house, I'll just do some AFK skilling on my phone. It's very nice to be able to do that, but unfortunately it's not very easy to record. So there won't be any clips of it, but I'll try and, in general, keep up to date with what methods I'm using for training skills on my phone. The one we're going to be going with now is woodcutting, and honestly, it's just a click tree, so nothing fancy there. So we ended up getting up to 40 woodcutting, and then using a bunch of the logs we chopped to get up to 30 firemaking as well. So some quick napkin math tells me that this is about 14k XP per day, which in absolute terms, that's actually not an insane amount compared to stuff like dragons, zygomites, even chins maybe. 14k a day isn't insane. It's just the fact you could do it at level 17 farming is really, really the thing that makes it feel quite overpowered. Okay, so I had a bit of a brainwave, and I just am doing the player and farm tutorial / intro, and part of that is to check on some animals that you skip time to immediately grow. So yeah, that got the daily challenge for farming done, and we're also getting the farm set up. So nice double task. I then started a spree of trying to unlock a bunch of different AFK training methods. So the first thing we did was we went for unlocking Menethos, which involved doing Stolen Hearts and Diamond in the Rough, which are now 2 quests that used to be 1 in Prince Ali Rescue. The desert storyline got a bit of a shake-up, and to be honest, it was for the better. These are way better than Prince Ali Rescue in my opinion. And you then follow these up with the Jack of Spades, which gives you access to Menethos. And the reason I got access to this is because I wanted access to the fishing and woodcutting training. The fishing training is reasonable XP rates and has a deposit box basically right next to the fishing spot. And the woodcutting of Arcadias is one of the better ways to train woodcutting. There's no good ways to train woodcutting as far as I'm aware, but it's one of the better ones. while going for 50 fletching, we ended up getting a spin ticket, or key ticket. I'm going to keep calling them spin tickets. But we ended up getting a spin ticket that we couldn't use because we had too many. So I used them all, lamps into agility, the usual. The standout thing here is that we got a huge cash bag, which gave us 2 mil, which is just insane to me. And that is 50 fletching done. So I'm going to stop there. I believe I actually need to go like all the way to 76, I think, for quests at some point. But I'm not going to do that now. I don't have much time to actually do much right now. So quickly sell these off. Yeah, I made a bit of money back, and well, we've hit a green cash stack. Kind of bittersweet that most of it came from stuff that wasn't actually my work. And that is going to wrap us up for this episode. We made some huge progress in this one, tons of questing done, and we hit a green cash stack, but I'm not feeling too achieved about that because most of it came from Treasure Hunter, let's be real here. But it is what it is. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. And next time, I promise, it's not just going to be a load of questing. We've actually got some potentially fun stuff lined up. So yeah, I hope to see you then.